with Kidson, and I'm here with one half of Neptune Project. I'm here with Dan Willis, who has been in the US for a while now, but recently just played the pre-party for FSOE New York City and has a lot of more exciting things coming up. So we're going to talk a little bit about what he has coming up.
Hello everyone.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm really happy. Life is great, and yeah, it's all good.
Very cool. So how long have you actually been here for?
Just coming up to a month now.
Okay.
I think I got here on the 5th of August.
Okay, so right before the party you played, right?
Yeah, the night before the party I played, yeah. No, actually I flew in on the day of the party because my connection was delayed. I missed my connection. So.
Where are you coming from?
Medellin, Colombia.
Oh.
I knew I was going to miss the connection as well. I saw like an hour on the connections.
The screens and telling you.
Yeah, on the itinerary. And I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to make that, having to come in from Medellin. Like, why are you in Medellin for like 4 days? You know?
I'm a DJ, that's what we do. So you played FSOE in Colombia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was really good. I played early. I think I played it, I was the second or third, I think I was third. Okay. To play, so it was a day party, so it went from 3 until 3. It was a day and kind of night party, so it went from 3 until 3. So when I played, it wasn't as busy as it was like later on in the evening, but it was still good. The crowd were like really up for it, and you know, like, it was really cool to like meet loads of people that came, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Had a great time. It was good.
Colombia is not really a place that you hear a lot of trance going on. Like they have their stuff, but big parties like FSOE.
Yeah, I think for trance in particular, or trance as we know it, kind of thing. We'll come on to that, I guess.
Later.
It was an amazing lineup.
Okay.
I think for me personally, it was the strongest lineup. I think. I'd say it was the strongest FSOE lineup, I think, in Colombia that day. I feel. Yeah,
they had a really good array of artists this year. It was a really good
lineup. But the whole FSOE 350 for me was a lot bigger than it was last year. I mean, last year was great, and we played Mexico, Argentina, and it was really good. But there was something special this year, I think. I think obviously Fadi's a lot bigger now than it was the year before. The success of last year's events made this year's events even bigger, and the numbers going to the events. I mean, I think San Salvador had like 8,000 or something go to it. I think that's what I heard. I know Argentina had 3 or 4, maybe 5. New York was rammed in the dance on
New York was definitely rammed.
So, Colombia was a bit of a shame because it was an outdoor event and it actually rained for the first. It rained for the first time in 2 months in Medellin.
Like, so, that would be the odds that it starts raining.
So I felt the promoter was such a lovely guy, Denny, great promoter, one of the best I've ever, maybe even the best promoter I've ever played for. The professionalism, the way he handled everything. Airport transfers, the hotel, everything was just run really, really well, and it was a shame that it rained.
Yeah.
Because it was just starting to get quite full, and then 10 o'clock came, which was around the time when everyone was going to start sort of coming.
Yeah.
They'd worked that day, and then
they'd only go out at night.
Yeah. Girls had gone home, 2-3 hours do their makeup as per usual.
That is.
Come on, that's true.
Yes, I agree.
But. Yeah, so everyone, and then it just started raining, so everyone was like, no, I can't go for that.
That sucks. South America seemed very big on this tour this year.
Yeah, no surprise, because it's the biggest continent for dance music. Well, no, okay, I can't take that back. I guess money-wise, America's the biggest because of the whole EDM thing.
EDM bubble.
Yeah, but if you talk about like trance music, I think, and possibly techno and house, and I think South America is where it's the biggest and the best. I think
it's
the best by a long way. The biggest, yeah, I think so. I think Europe's not as big as it used to be 10-15 years ago, and now America's obviously booming, but it's very saturated with EDM artists and the whole
big room,
loads of tables going at $5,000-$10,000 up to $50,000 for VIP tables.
Yeah,
it's all
bottle racks and
it's very sort of centered in that. Certainly in Vegas and Miami for sure.
Atlantic City is very big on that. Yeah.
So, but then there are great places. I think LA still got some really
LA
great
has a
places.
very good scene.
I hear a lot of good things about Exchange. Lots of people on our Twitter keep messaging us and tweeting LA Exchange in the tweets and saying, when are you going to bring Neptune Project? So I'm always like retweeting that. Bring it to their attention. It's nice that they actually favour it as well.
That's cool.
They see it. So yeah, hopefully soon Exchange.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
How does it feel when you see people react to your sets and different things on social media and tweet you and retweet you and follow you and everything?
It's really humbling, I think. Is the best way I could describe it. I feel that this feedback is really. We make music for ourselves at the end of the day. When we're in the studio, we're making tracks that we love to hear, and so that's the primary reason we produce. But then I think the second reason with us is for other people.
Yes.
We want as many other people to like our music, and we've done interviews before. We don't do too many, but we've always said that we don't do this for our ego or for money or for fame or for any, for girls or whatever. It's with us. It's very fundamentally about the music, and it always will be. And I can't see us changing because we started off as clubbers and we became DJs.
You've been on both sides of
and this is, people kind of freak out a little bit when we go into the crowds after our sets to sort of hang out and enjoy the other DJs.
Normal.
To us, that's normal, and people kind of don't get it because I don't think they see too many other DJs that want to be in the crowd.
Unfortunately, there are a lot that are kind of stuck up in the back in their VIP world.
If there's people there that I haven't seen for a long time, that are friends of mine in the industry, then it's great to hang out with them and have a chat and stuff for a period of time and that. But if it's people that I'm seeing quite a lot, then I'd rather just get to be in the crowd and experience other guys' sets and stuff. Especially if it's guys that I've liked their music for a long time. Aly Fila, love to be in the crowd when I'm watching them play. Simon Patterson, those kind of guys that I really like their music a lot, and I think it's great to hear their stuff on the best way possible, which is in the crowd with the sound system.
Yeah, with the experience around you.
Yeah, and you can see the production as well. So, definitely.
All right, very cool. So you've been in New York for a little while after the show. Well, let's talk about FSOE New York City, because you didn't play the actual FSOE, but you played the pre-party.
Yeah.
So that was at Cielo. What's your feelings on how that went?
I love the club.
Okay.
The club was
It's
incredible.
one of the best clubs in New York
City.
City.
The sound system was really clear. Probably the best sound system that I've played off.
Oh, okay.
Myself, because we haven't played Ministry of Sound yet.
It's got a function one.
Yeah, it's hopefully being organised, but
cool.
But it was really impressive, and I really enjoyed the club, the atmosphere, and really enjoyed my set. It's a bit weird because I took over from the warm-up DJ,
Rory James.
Yes, I
can't.
He was
in New York City's like staple.
His name. And I think he finished like 120.
Yes, he's very known for more progressive
and I'm
sound.
like, well, I mean,
let me just crank it up a little bit.
Kind of felt like I was just getting the lever on the CJ, just like pushing it like not that much. but no, it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And then I went to the FSOE on the main event on Saturday, and it was. I think I agree with Faddy and John's feelings that it was great to see something of the music that we all are all really passionate about on a scale like that in New York. That
it was a big milestone for
kind of pure
the
trance,
scene here.
Really.
Yes, we don't really get a lot. We've had ASA here and we've had Armin Only here, but nothing. I mean, not taking away from that, but I feel like a real, like you said, pure trance night.
Yeah, I think
we haven't really had that.
Armin's been at a level for a long time now where he can sell out a venue because he's Armin.
Yes, just by his name.
Yeah, just by his name. Yeah. So for the guys, Faddy, John, Solarstone, Bryan, Arctic Moon, all those, all the guys that played. It was great to see a venue like that was full of people that came for, you know, there would have been people that wanted to come because obviously Fadi and John, but then there were also people that would have wanted to come because of Bryan and Arctic Moon and, you know, just and Solarstone and the other guys. So I feel like it was a great thing to see in America. And fingers crossed that it continues.
We hope so. And for New York, I mean, this is not to obviously anything against New York. I live here. This is my home, but New York was great. It's never gonna. I don't think it can ever really hold a candle to some of the other larger events like in Argentina and Colombia because it's a whole different world there. But for New York, it was definitely a big achievement for the city to have something that real there and to be very successful. I've heard great feedback from Fadi and people saying they really loved it. It was great. I've heard great feedback from a lot of people that attended. It was definitely packed. It was definitely like it was rocking. It was really good. I definitely enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself too.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a long time in the coming.
Rich played the Pink Floyd, so our Pink Floyd mix. I'm trying to talk on behalf of Jules as well.
That's fine.
I always sort of end up saying like singular.
Mine, but
it's both of us. So everything I say is always like pretty much echoed through Jules.
Well, yeah, of course.
We say that as well. It's very rare that something will come up that we disagree on. I think musically there's been a few things, but behind the scenes with all the decisions that need to be made and stuff, we're very sort of it's kind of feels like there's not too much debating or conversations need to come up. So,
how did you guys meet?
We met in a gym actually in Swindon. I came back from university after being there for like 2 weeks and thought to myself, I'm not gonna make. I was behind on coursework and whatever, you know. And I thought I'm never gonna make it through my first year. So what's the point in getting myself into lots of student debt? When at the time I just wanted to be a police officer, and I ended up becoming a police officer in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, I was a police officer for like 5 years.
Oh wow!
And not many people know that. I don't really.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
it's a bit different.
Say now.
No, it's fine. But but that summer I went to Ibiza, and just everything kind of changed. It definitely changed me a lot.
Everybody has that like event.
Yeah, it kind of like I kind of woke up to this whole amazing environment where everyone was having a great time, enjoying themselves. It was all about the music. It was just a really incredible atmosphere, and I wasn't used to anything like that in the UK at that time. I think I was like 19, 20 at the time.
Okay, you're young.
2020, I was 20, 2004.
Okay.
So I then came back from having this wonderful, amazing 8 weeks in Ibiza, went to university, and then really struggled to get back into that study kind of zone, and came back to the UK and sort of didn't really know where I was going in my life, and started just, I was going to this gym, and I remember this one day when there was a CD playing on the sound system, and it was these tunes that I was hearing, really great trance tracks that I was hearing in the summer. Solid Globe, Sahara, Darren Tate, and Mike Hogg and Johnny Grant circuits. Just real Jürgen. It was mixed by Jürgen Vries, and I went to the desk and I said to this guy who's working. I said, "Is this your CD, mate?" And he's like, "Yeah, I bought it a couple of days ago. Do you like it?" I said, "Yeah, I really like it." And that turned out to be Jules.
Oh, that's cool.
I said to him, "Oh, have you heard of this DJ called Tiesto?" And he's like, "No." I said, "Well, he's playing in the UK in January in Passion." And I said, "We need to." I said, "We need to go," and that was like this night was planned for like 3 months, and then that night we went, and that was the start of our clubbing.
That's awesome.
Like together, the history, and we went clubbing for. We still go clubbing now sometimes, but very rarely. But we went to pretty much every time Armin was in the UK, every time Tiesto, when he was playing trance music. Yeah. So we went, and Paul van Dyk, and we just went to pretty much every. I remember sometimes we'd go out to 3 nights in a weekend. We'd go somewhere Friday, somewhere Saturday, and somewhere Sunday. It was, we'd go all over the place, and that's how we started. It got to sort of 2007, and we decided that we're going to start messing around with music equipment and
it's usually how it starts.
Producing and
what does this button do?
Yeah, well that's how I learned. Jules he was already switched on to a lot more things. He's much better at production in its composition sense with keyboards and with guitar. He plays guitar. He can he can sing because everyone's heard Lost on My Tears.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and he started off by being a drummer.
So he had a musical background.
Yeah, he's got his musical background versus mine is 100% zero, kind of thing. But with me, it was like a case of what does this button do? What does what does this do? And it was that's how we kind of worked together. So a lot of the acid lines in our tracks all sort of came about because I was curious as to if I take this button and do that to that sound and turn that and what does this do and then you start hearing it and it's like
this button did that.
Yeah, and then I kind of learnt from the trial and error way and watching Jules produce and
everybody has a different learning style.
And I feel, and Jules will agree that we work really well together, whereas I'm happy to let him sort of do the ideas and then sometimes he goes off on a bit of a tangent and it's not quite fitting in with trance or but we work really well together and I feel like my brain is kind of my what's the word, like I guess love of trance music, and over the years I kind of know what sounds good and what doesn't sound good in tracks, so I feel like that's where I really sort of come into my own, and I know when he's on something I'm like that's massive, let's stick with that, and then sometimes things won't work, but it's a great I can't ever imagine not producing with him. I've done some stuff on my own, and I'm happy. Of course, naturally. Yeah, I just don't enjoy it as much as when I'm in the studio with him. Because all of the magic has happened when we've been in the studio together. We've been in the studio together pretty much. There's a few exceptions when I've been away and he's done something, and I've come back and he's almost done a whole track.
Oh wow! Okay.
But yeah, it's fun, and I do really miss it when I'm away. I miss it a lot. So one thing I miss the most, like being in the studio making new tracks when I'm away. But then I love being away and being able to travel, especially that we're not at the level where we're doing gigs every single weekend somewhere. So I can go somewhere and obviously the flights get covered, the hotel gets covered for a couple of days. You
stay there for a little bit.
Yeah, and because I'm earning money from playing poker, which is what I do.
That's what you do?
Yeah, that's what I do outside producing. That's what pays the bills. It's all really weird. Transition from being a police officer into
playing poker, gambling,
poker professional / trance DJ producer. Yeah, it's all a bit kind of weird, but
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so for instance, last year in Argentina, I had a gig there, and then I stayed there for 2 months because everyone was saying how amazing it was, and it's like, well, rather than just going in, seeing the airport, seeing the hotel, seeing the gig, meeting a few people, why don't I just live here? And that's what I did. So I supported myself from playing online poker, which is what I've been doing since I left the police in 2008. Okay. So I've been doing it for 6 years, and it pays the bills, it pays the rent, and I'm happy that I'm able to have a job that I don't have to sort of do a 9 to 5, and I'm unhappy there, and I'm just...
You're living everybody's dream, or a lot of people's dreams, in a sense.
I mean, I'm not motivated. It sounds weird being a poker professional, but I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by just being happy in life, and I kind of, once I've sort of earned enough that month to get by, then the rest of my time I put to music, and that's kind of like how I'm really happy. I'm not one of these people who just wants to sit there earning more and more. I mean, I could, but I get bored, and I just really enjoy having that balance where I can earn enough to pay the bills, get by, and then just spend the rest of my time with music stuff.
Very nice.
Or being with friends, family, and stuff like that.
So it's been doing when you've been in New York, you've just been playing poker online to
a little bit,
kind of make your way?
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. And then I've been seeing friends I've not seen for a while, and doing some cool things. Yeah, it's good.
Very nice. So, do you actually have a place in England that you would call home?
I did have.
Is a past tense.
Yeah, I moved to Spain with one of my friends, Chris.
Okay, where in Spain?
In Alicante, which is on the south coast.
Okay.
The rent's really cheap there, and we both work online. He's an artist. He's a freelance artist. He's like an incredible artist. I'll plug his page. Check out The Art of Christopher Level. There we are, done. No, he's genius. He's got like, I don't know, 100,000 likes on Facebook.
Wow.
And there's been some people I've been showing his artwork to, and when I've been over here, they're like, I know that guy. I follow him on Instagram or something like that.
He's my friend. I live with him.
Yeah, so they already know who he is. So no, he's a great friend, and we've moved out to Spain, but we're not sure whether. I think we're going to go give it maybe a year out there, because it's very sort of isolate, and I'm going to miss being in the studio. But Jules is a family. He has a 6-year-old daughter now, I think.
Aww.
I think she's 6 or 5. Madison, she's absolutely gorgeous. And his son is 1 now.
Okay.
So, and he works full time with martial arts. So it's very.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard to get the amount of time that we both want together in the studio, because of stuff going on in our personal lives. And this is, we went through that period 2011 to 13, I guess, where we sort of not kind of disappeared, but we didn't produce as much as we were before and as much as we were now. I was living in London with my ex-girlfriend and found it really hard to get to the studio at weekends, because that was her time off, and
it was your
went
time
for
together.
a really huge like roller coaster relationship there, and then it took me a good year to get over it all and get myself back on track, and then just focus hard on music. So when it came to this year, and after we went to Argentina and Mexico last year, we said to each other, let's just smash this, let's just do what we know we can do, and it was really inspiring, Argentina and Mexico last year, to get us back on track. And then we wrote Lost in My Tears.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because that was a instant hit even here in America when that was released.
Yeah, that was the first
nuts.
track that we did when we came back from Argentina. When we got back from like last year's traveling. It was the instrumental was written, and I went to Above and Beyond Group Therapy 50 in London, and Jules was supposed to come, but it was a couple of days before his dad's 10th anniversary of his passing, and Jules is he was really close with Dad, and his dad died on Halloween, and he always really struggles around that sort of time of the year. Goes quite quiet and quite reserved, and he's found it easier with time to sort of open up a little bit and talk about it. But it was 10 years to the day, and he wanted to be on his own in the studio. And what happened was, he's told a story on the making of Lost in My Tears. I think he told it to Fatty at FSOE 350, but he just got the mic, and I think he was really emotional, and then he was crying and he was in tears, and then he's like, I need to convey my emotions into this track. So he just plugged the mic in, and then he was like, that's it, like I've lost all. He's like, I can't cry anymore. I've lost all my tears crying for you. And then he was like, okay, that's enough to go with to begin with. And literally, like, no word of a lie, he got the mic on and he sung, and he did one take. So everything you hear was just one take.
That's crazy.
So he left it in the track, and we EQ'd it a little bit, and then he left it for me to listen to the next day. So I came home on Sunday, and he's like, hey, have a listen to what I've done, see what you think. And I listened to it, and like my whole body just goosebumps.
Right then and there.
I knew right then because male vocal tracks are really, like, the ratio of female to male vocal tracks.
It's so little
in dance music. Yeah, and I think I could only name maybe a maximum of 10 male vocal tracks that I really, really like.
Yeah, and that
I would play in our own sets. So it was a real, like, kind of Marmite area with male vocals. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah,
and for the most part,
I feel like that's the same way.
Yeah, for the most part, I kind of don't like them. But when
I heard this,
I knew that and I thought, well, being the way I am with male vocals, if I really like this, I felt like other people would.
And you're not trying to be biased as
no,
because it's Jules.
Yeah, and because we have done male vocal tracks with him before, and they were like iffy. On the edge as whether we go with it or not. And Fadi was going to sign one of them. We were actually going to redo it because we believe in it a lot more now. Now we've done Lifting Me Up, so it'll be out it'll be out next year. It's called Lifting Me Up. So look out for that. But it needs to be updated because we haven't touched it since 2009.
Oh wow!
I think it was actually the first track we wrote after Aztec. It was actually, yeah, it was the first because we wanted to do a male track after doing the female track, but we sort of didn't end up releasing it. But now we're going to update it, and we believe in it enough now to do it. So yeah, what happened with Lost on My Tears was once we had the track. The way we wanted it with the vocal, we took it to our engineer we work with, Dave Parkinson, who does the final mix on our tracks. He's a genius. I mean, I've spoke about him in interviews before, so I think we're one of the only artists who works with him in a sense where we go to him with the finished track, like everything that you hear in the track is all done by us, but he's got 25 years experience with sound design, engineering.
Is that what mastering is?
Kind of like not. Mastering's the process where once you've got the mix down right, you just get the extra. You know, kind of like easiest way to say it to people who don't really understand too well is the polishing of the track to get it sounding the best you possibly can in a club system. But the mix down is the most important part. Like forget mastering because the saying you can't polish a turd is true. It's true.
It's an interesting way to put it, but you're right.
It's true. So with the mix down, like the mix down is so like the most important thing with the track. I feel once you've got the track sort of, kind of finished. So to get all the levels right, all the EQ, all the sounds really clean, so nothing's colliding with no low frequencies are colliding and muddy in the mix. Just getting all the optimum levels of all the sounds that you've got in that track. And that, when I first started working with Dave, it blew my mind how talented he was and how good he was, and where we were getting our tracks, kind of finished in our own mind. And then when I went to work with him to see if he could bring anything extra to our tracks in terms of the final sort of sound, it just blew my mind how far away we were from him.
Yeah, when you thought you're done, you're finished, and then you hear him, you're like, whoa.
Then we heard what he can do to our mix. So I spoke to a few friends about it. I'm good friends with Jono from Above and Beyond. I said to Jono, what's your thoughts on working with an engineer to kind of get the track like to the best level you can? And his feedback was, well, I would always advocate that if you're someone who really cares about your track, I would always advocate working with someone to get that track sounding as best you can. So that advice, and I know sort of from watching the Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here and Dark Side of the Moon and Animals, like documentaries, and reading up about them, because everyone knows, like, if you don't know me by now, they're like my huge inspirations in music, and they're just like gods to me. So they worked with an engineer called Alan Parsons for Dark Side of the Moon. So when I realised all this, it was like, well, I don't see any harm in working with an engineer on our final mix to get it sounding the best. So there's a lot of touchy, it's a very touchy subject with people, like the whole concept of ghost production, and who works with who and who does this. But for us, just without going to other people and mention names or whatever, for us it's a case of we work with someone to get our mix down the best we possibly can, because right now we're not at the level to get it to where he can get it. And we're learning from him as well. We've spent 4 or 5 years working with him, and he's become one of my best friends. Cool. And I really I have a great relationship with him outside of music, always having a laugh with him, and he's a really great guy. Cool. And for me, he's the most talented person who works in the music industry. But
that's a lot.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people who agree with me as well.
So, Lost on My Tears came out, was a big hit, and you also have another track you come out recently, which is also being, people are asking for the copy of it. I see it on YouTube a little bit. It's not released, right?
I mean, it's kind of like my baby, this one.
Okay.
It's, you know, like Lost on My Tears was very much so Jules' kind of baby, and I think this one's very much so my baby. It was like how it sounds was in my head, how I thought how I wanted it to sound. Mm-hmm. All the ideas, all the chopped up samples, the breakdown, the actual transition from the Floyd to the trance kind of vibe.
Before we go any further, the name of it is, just so people know.
The name of the track we're talking about?
Yes.
Well,
you don't want to say?
No, of course I'll say. Yeah, no, it's Pink Floyd, and it's called "Shine on the Dark Side of the Moon," which is derived from "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" and "The Dark Side of the Moon" album. It's not a mashup. I decided to call it that because we've taken so many different sounds from the Dark Side of the Moon album, and then we use "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" as the core feature of the breakdown. So I felt it justified to call it that in respect to what we've used from Pink Floyd, and then we called it Neptune Project's Out There with Pluto mix.
So when artists do play it, it doesn't come up in their track list as an ID?
No, it's coming up as
the track name.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knows now it's
it's
our track. But yeah, it's like really special to me.
Okay.
I'm really proud of it. I know Jules is really proud of it as well. We put more time into this track than any other track. I was really frustrated at the lack of really good remixes from I'd sort of tried to listen to loads of remixes of Pink Floyd tracks, and none of them, like maybe one or two I kind of liked, and none were screaming at me that this is amazing. And it was a personal project that I contemplated doing for a couple of years now, but out of respect to Pink Floyd, I didn't want to do it at a stage of our production level where we couldn't do something really special with it. And so I waited, and there's a kind of lot of personal stuff with the track, for me, with a real difficult time in my life, and relating to things. I won't really go into it too much, but it's sort of it's kind of a weird, like, bit of a weird one, but for me it's a really symbolic track of like a two-year period of where I went through a lot, and that was kind of like the end result of all of my ups and downs, and you know, like pain that I suffered with the breakup I went through, and all what I went through with it, and all the circumstances and stuff. And then I came back from Thailand, and we started this track, and so we did about 40 hours on it, and sort of not forgot it, but worked on other stuff. And then this year I decided that I really wanted to like get it finished, and I did a lot of time with Jules working on the melody, and it took a few different ideas for the melody, and then the last like 30 hours was spent with Dave working on it, because we needed his help, like to get it finished the way I wanted to get it finished, with all the sampling, all the chopping up, and making sure the timing's right. And it felt like it was the one track that we did with the content wise. It was like I don't want to blow my own trumpet when I say this word, because that's not what I'm like, but it felt like it was like a bit of a kind of like a masterpiece kind of.
That's good to feel about your work that way, though. You should feel proud of what you put out. I'm
not like egotistical in any way, so I'm not going to stand here and say, oh, I make masterpieces or anything. But I felt like the level of effort and the detail that we put into that track, and the reactions we've had from it, have been really like priceless. Really,
has a lot of artists.
I'm really we've had so many artists ask us for it. It's been originally I didn't want to give it to anyone. I wanted it just to be ours for our own sets. That it would be, no one else would have it. But then it's a trade-off with the level we're at our career at the moment, having that exposure from Armin, definitely. From Simon Patterson, from Faddy, it's hard to keep things back. If maybe we were at Faddy's level, it's easier to keep things back and just have for yourself. So I debated for a while. I gave it to Simon first. He played it on Radio 1, like premiered it on Radio 1, which was amazing to have that exposure. And then we gave it to Armin to try and get it on the Day of Trance, which he played and said some really nice words about it. He really liked it. And then we gave it to Fadi for him to sort of play pretty much like exclusive, almost, because I don't think Armin played it in his live sets. And I think Simon's played it quite a lot, but so I kept it just to people we're really sort of close with and Armin. But then Rich from Solarstone's big Pink Floyd fan, and he messaged me a couple of times asking for it, and I think he even asked Fadi for it. So I was like, oh, okay.
By the way,
So when I saw him in New York, I decided that'd be a good time to give it to him, because he was. I think my gut was maybe he would play it at FSOE 350, and he did. So it worked out.
I remember that.
So I think other than those guys, I've given it to a couple of other people. Andrew Noble Six has it because he's a real good friend of ours, and we've done a collab with him recently, and we're starting a new project together with him. And a few other people have it, but it's maybe 10 people have it.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to keep it really
exclusive.
Really exclusive, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like to upset people. I know people have been like, oh, I really want this, and please can I have it, and please can you release it. But I think if you release everything you don't have anything that is really special when you kind of play it, that's got that exclusivity. Is that right?
Exclusivity. Yeah.
Exclusivity. There we go. It doesn't have that real sort of vibe to it.
It's special when not every single person is overplaying a song, or it keeps its charm. I guess it's magic almost to it.
Yeah, that's kind of how we wanted it in the first place, but then the exposure side got the better.
Yeah, to kind of like weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah. So, but I've been blown away by the feedback. I've had so many people write on YouTube comments or SoundCloud comments and stuff saying that they wanted to hear a really good Pink Floyd mix for a long time, and this has done it like justice, and this is the one really good mix they've heard of a Pink Floyd track. And there's been a few people, I think I've literally seen probably 300 or 400, 500 kind of amazing comments, really positive words, and I think I've seen 4 negative feedback. Where it's been,
no one's always going to be happy. Can't please everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that was my whole issue of holding back doing it, because I didn't want to like do something bad to a band that I'm really mad on, and one of the biggest bands in the world. I didn't want to like butcher one of their tracks. So,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was a real like big thing holding me back there. So how it's turned out has been perfect, to be honest. I didn't expect to get 100% of people being like, this is amazing. But to get pretty much like 99%, 1%
is more than you could ask for.
So I'm really happy with it, and you know, the times I do hear or see an odd comment, it just normally it would kind of bother me. And I think as human beings we focus more on the negative things about us than we do the positives,
which we should totally reverse that.
Yeah, the negatives seem to bother us a lot more. You could have 100 amazing comments, but that one negative one
is going to throw you off completely. It's going to
play on your mind, kind of thing. So but I'm sort of in a bit of a better place in the last few years than I've been before, where negative feedback would make me be like, oh, this is really bad, or you know, I don't or knock my confidence or something like that. Whereas now it's whatever, you know.
You seem very confident in your music, and even though you had the person saying, "Oh, well, it sucks," or being critical,
it's just like I know how it sounds in a club, and I know the feedback I've got from people in the industry I really respect. That's enough for me. And
you also know how it makes you feel, and most importantly,
that's the most important thing.
Feel about it.
It's how I feel, and the line in there. Anyone who knows me really well, without saying like too much here, but the line "too much acid will literally fry your brain" is kind of very sentimental to me.
Well, okay, we'll leave it to each their own. We'll leave it at that.
There you go. Yeah. So let bygones be bygones in that area, I think. So,
hey, no one's judging. Definitely not judging. So.
Well, put it this way: a lot of that track was heavily influenced and written in that area. And that's why it's called Out There with Pluto Mix.
No way are we advocating any sort of anything.
No, of course. Just more people need to open their minds, I think, to
be more open-minded to different things.
I don't know. For me personally, it was something that changed my life a lot. You know, I haven't even admitted to anything here, have I? Either yet?
No.
But no, it was something that changed my life a lot, and it made me kind of wake up to a lot of things in the world that my perception changed, kind of thing. Appreciating things that I didn't appreciate before, like my health, my happiness, my family, the small things in life.
Sometimes you kind of forget about.
Yeah, not the expensive cars or having a big house or
material.
Loads. Yeah, just kind of switched me off to a lot of material things and made me switch on to a lot of things that have been in the world for a long time that people forget about, like amazing sunrises and sunsets
little
and
things
nature
like that.
and just things that we sort of seem to forget as human beings living in the technology world that we live in these days. And I'm really grateful for my experiences on it. I know a lot of people have had bad experiences on it, but for me personally, it's one of the most life-changing things in my life. So it's very very close to me and always will be. It's not something that I'm thinking of like, oh, when's the next time I do it. It's like that happened to me in my life. I've been through that phase, from it. And I've got what I've got out of it most. I think more than anything is I've really found myself as this person, and I get a lot of people come up to me in gigs and sort of say it's really nice to meet someone who's really humble and genuine and down to earth in this industry, and it seems to be doing it for the right reasons that we're all here for, collectively. And I think music more than anything is the one thing that brings people together.